get to see my pretty face today, but I just wanted to go over something. See, this is exactly what I like to see. Someone who's debating me about my previous video, which I don't know if any of you saw, but here it is. I'm just going to go through this. I'm just going to call the person DL. I don't want to give out any names. He never said I could use his name, so I'll just say DL. If y'all are friends with me on Facebook, you'll know who I'm talking about. I like having debate back and forth. It's very nice. There's no name calling in this. He's just stating his points, what he believes in, and that's fine. That's exactly what I look for. So let's peruse this, shall we? We start out with the claims of how he's going to have to post a few times to it. Never had a president who has come from an unsuccessful business background, which is not true. When you look at all the businesses he owns and his bankruptcies, his rate of bankruptcy is somewhere between 2 and 4%. I mean, if you're a businessman, you're going to have failures. That's just the way it goes. Nobody is successful completely 100% out of the gate. You're going to have failures. It's a proven fucking fact. But if he wants to go, he thinks Trump's an ineffectual businessman, that's his right. And comes down here and says getting citizenship is not easy. It takes years. Oh, well, hold on. I'm actually jumping ahead of one. He says that his policy ideas are destructive and all this. I've been on his website. I've seen his policy ideas, and I think they work out pretty good. And it says here Trump does not give a shit about homosexuals. But if we go over here, let me just pull up something here real quick, and I'll show you where that couldn't be any more wrong.
You have a Twitter question?
Yeah, we're getting thousands of questions on Twitter, Mr. Trump. I picked one here. This is from Jessica Hershey, Toms River, New Jersey. I'll just read it as a quote on a hot button issue here. Mr. Trump, please be specific. Tell us your views on LGBT, how you plan to be inclusive as president. Speak about North Carolina bathroom law in particular.
Oh, I had a feeling that question was going to come up. I will tell you. Well, look, North Carolina did something that was very strong, and they're paying a big price, and there's a lot of problems. And I heard one of the best answers I heard was from a commentator yesterday saying, leave it the way it is right now. There have been very few problems. Leave it the way it is. North Carolina, what they're going through with all of the business that's leaving and all of the strife, and that's on both sides. You leave it the way it is. There have been very few complaints the way it is. People go, they use the bathroom that they feel is appropriate. There has been so little trouble. And the problem with what happened in North Carolina is the strife and the economic punishment that they're taking. So I would say that's probably the best.
Do you have any transgender people working in your organization?
I don't know.
No?
I really don't know. I probably do. I really don't know.
So if Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses?
That is correct.
There you go. I finally found it. That kind of shoots down the whole how Donald Trump supposedly isn't a big fan of gay rights. I mean, he obviously doesn't care. Okay, and then we get on to the getting citizenship is not easy. I never said it was going to be easy. It's never easy. And the fact of the matter is, if you want to live here, you got to go through the process. That's just the way it is. For us that are born here, yeah, we had it easier, but so what? That's just the way it goes. It's the same way in any country. You're not just going to slide right in and become a citizen. There's a process in every country. I mean, come on, get real. And then we come down to here, this line. Not even Alex Jones supports him with that shit as far as illegal immigrants voting. Not that his views should be taken seriously. Okay, that's his opinion. I happen to like Alex Jones. Sometimes he gets a little crazy, but a lot of the shit he says is right, because he backs up all his articles. He provides links to the documentation. I like that. You don't get that in CNN or any other websites or any other shithole websites like Snopes and all that. It's all just basically their opinion. At least his opinion is based on documentation, and you can take from it what you will, and most people do. The proof of the pudding is right here, and I got it somewhere around here. I did. This was from January 27th. Study proves Trump right about 3 million illegals voting and swinging elections. And it comes right down here. You can either watch the video, either way you can go over the articles at your leisure. And if you want to believe that you know about Alex Jones, I really don't think you have any idea. As far as what he's about, I guess the video is the best way to go, but moving on. Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, which is SNAP, food stamps basically. And then he gets in Trump family's vacations. I don't know why he goes off on that jag. All I said yesterday, because he says in here, poor people do not buy healthier shit as carbohydrates, having a longer shelf life, fruits, vegetables, or meat are much cheaper. Okay, that's if you're on assistance. I'm talking about people that say fuck food assistance, who have too much pride and are actually living poor and don't want anything to do with government assistance. Those people are the ones that buy large amounts of beans and rice. Most of the time they butcher their own meat because it saves money to butcher your own meat. And their stuff ends up lasting longer, and it's actually healthier for you. Because he is right. The people on food assistance buy all the shit, and you basically end up with fat poor people. That's why we have the most fat poor people. Other countries are amazed on how fat our poor people are. And then this one here, many on welfare were not always poor, some got nicer vehicles and became unemployed and required assistance. Okay, that's great. But one of the first things you should do is maybe trade down. I don't know, sell a nice vehicle, get one that's functional, maybe not so beautiful. You'll get some money then, and you'll be able to, not depend on the system so much. Why is that such a bad idea? I buy used vehicles all the fucking time. They're not pretty, but they get me from point A to point B, and they work. And when I use the term welfare queens, the president, apparently that upset him. It's racially charged. Well, it's true. I guarantee you there's people out there watching this right now that have experienced it. Somebody in line ahead of them that's got a food stamp, that's got a link card, that's just got a buttload of groceries in their cart. Most of it's very unhealthy, and it's all paid for by the government, while Johnny Working Man or Susie Working Woman is behind them, just paying for what they can pay for based on what they brought home from their job. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, because you would think that if you got a food assistance program in place for poor folks, you just wouldn't let them buy anything. I mean, there should be some parameters set there. Keep their health up. The one thing you want to do is try to get people off of the system and not just keep perpetually keeping them on it by letting them know, oh, hey, if I'm on SNAP, I can just get whatever the hell I want and all is well. And then we look up here. I thought I had that up there. Apparently not. Okay. Back to more what DL said. We get into anthropogenic global warming. Here we go with that garbage. We have this here from Climate Depot back in 2013. I know, 4 years ago, but still, what's 4 years different? This is by Mark Morano. Actually, or Mark Moreno, however you want to say it. Scientists note that geologically speaking, the Earth is currently a CO2 famine, that the geologic record reveals that the ice ages have occurred when CO2 was at 2,000 parts per million to as high as 8,000 parts per million. In addition, peer-reviewed studies have documented that there have been temperatures similar to the present day on Earth, when carbon dioxide was up 20 times higher than today's levels. So right there, that tells you CO2 doesn't have as big effect on it as you think it does. I mean, plants need CO2 to thrive. Why do you think everything was so much bigger back in prehistoric times? I can't remember which period in the era of the planet it was, where the bugs were just enormous. There were bugs out there that had the wingspans of eagles. Giant bugs. Is because CO2 levels were higher, the plants got bigger, plants started releasing more oxygen, therefore the animals, the insects, everything was bigger because of the rise in CO2. It's a known fact. If you pump a bunch of CO2 into a greenhouse, your plants are going to grow like fucking crazy because that's what plants feed on. I mean, it's just simple science. I don't understand why people get so upset. And we're in a CO2 famine. Warming and increased CO2 would be good for mankind. CO2 is not a pollutant, it is not a poison. We should not corrupt the English language by depriving pollutant and poison of their original meaning, which is true. You're never going to get rid of CO2. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. People just losing their damn minds. And there was just something I'd heard on the news today. I haven't found the article yet, but one of the climate change activists basically came out and admitted that it wasn't about the science at all. It's basically to bring down the economic model that we've been working under ever since the Industrial Revolution. So, come on, I mean, what's the real reason for all this climate change horse shit? Right there, that just delegitimizes it. Like I was saying, you can go over the article yourself. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I know a lot of climate change people are going to be all over me about this, and that's fine, but we all get our information from our own different sources. But there it is right there. There's climatedepot.com. Just look up that article. You can find it real easy. It's like right at the top when you search up Google about CO2 levels. I mean, it's pretty easy to find. Moving on. He says something here about fracking and all that. I actually do agree with him on that. I think fracking is a stupid fucking idea, especially near the Yellowstone caldera. That's like the most violent fucking volcano on planet Earth. If that goes off, most of the United States is going to choke to death. I don't understand why they're doing that. I will agree with them on that. The fracking shit, not a big thing with me. I don't find any merit with it. And he starts talking about you can doubt and deny science, but the fact is that all preventable CO2 scrubbers don't have as much impact. Alternative energy does. Yeah, if the alternative energy is efficient and it costs less than, like, let's say coal energy or natural gas energy or one of those. Problem is it's inefficient right now. If it becomes more efficient through innovation, then yeah, hell yeah, do it up, I say. Got no problem with it. I think the internal combustion engine has been a big waste of time anyway. There's something else I wanted to touch on in this article. Oh yeah, this part here. Obama led 76 straight months of economic growth and job creation. Trump didn't create any jobs before being inaugurated. And it says here he promised a massive tax cut to He promised a massive tax cut to everybody. So we come over here to the Trump tax reform. This is my favorite spot right here. Just read number 1. If you are single and earn less than $25,000 or married and jointly earn less than $50,000, you will not owe any income tax. That's pretty good for poor folks. That removes nearly 75 million households, over 50% from the income tax rolls. They get a one-page form to send the IRS saying, I win. Those who would otherwise owe income taxes will save an average of nearly $1,000 each. So right there, he's helping out as far as tax code, and that is absolutely fine with me. I mean, right here's an article showing in the weeks after his election on November 8th, a series of large corporations announced major initiatives to expand the U.S. But since then, the number has only grown. Here we have Ford bringing 700 jobs, German business software maker SAP SE bringing 400 jobs, Amazon.com 100,000 jobs, Lockheed 1,800, GM 1,500, Bayer $8 billion investment, Walmart 10,000 retail jobs, 24,000 construction jobs, LKQ Corp 150 jobs in Tennessee. There's the ones. I mean, there's Carrier, and I mean, it's just a whole bunch of them bringing jobs. There's that Japanese country that's bringing billions in. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy to think. And by the way, in the earlier article, there's about Donald Trump's success in Investopedia, and it does say that he was going through a period of bankruptcy in the early 90s. Everybody knows that, but he pulled out of it. Like I said before, you know, to be a successful businessman, you're going to have failure. It happens. It's like being a boxer. You think you're going to go your whole career in boxing and not get punched in the fucking face? You're out of your mind. It happens. That's just the way business goes. Then he said in there about Obama having 76 straight months of recovery. And this is not a right-leaning website or anything, because they pull all their stuff from Reuters and all that, and anybody in the know knows that Reuters is not a big fan of Trump and has always shined on Obama. So I'm not pulling anything from anything that's left-leaning or right-leaning, but we come down through here, and this is the quarters of 2% or lower growth. 2% or lower growth. 14 straight months. That is not good for an economy when it only grows under 2%. 1.2% in the second quarter of last year. That's not good. The average real GDP growth of recoveries rate prior to the Obama recovery was 4.3%. That's pretty bad. If the Obama recovery had been right in line with that 4.3%, the country would be $2.2 trillion richer today, according to Investors Business Daily. That is not good. So you can say all you want about Obama being successful, but he wasn't. It was terrible. And the fact that, as far as when you count in inflation and all that jazz, that people's incomes actually were staying stagnant while the price of everything went up. And you got the recent labor participation rate was 62.7%, which was slightly more than 94.5 million Americans out of the workforce. That's damn near 1/3 of the entire population of this damn country. That's insane. It's just absolutely insane. The numbers don't match. They've never matched. All this shit about, oh, his unemployment rate was only 5% or 6%. Yeah, it's all made up. Because once you go off the rolls and you stop looking for work, you're gone. They don't count you anymore. That's how they were able to come up with that juked ass number. It's an absolute complete farce. And then you got here, there's been a decline in business startups and investment, according to Time, which, not a big Trump supporter. There's been a decline of entrepreneurial activity from 14% in 2014 to 12% in 2015. That's not good. There's been a decline of real household family income, which is what I went over earlier. The decline went from 57,000 in 2007 to 53,000 in 2014. Naturally, it follows that the home ownership rate has declined to a near 48-year low. That's not good. And spike of Americans on food stamps increased from 26.5 million in 2007 to 44.5 million in 2016. That's crazy. And it had a height of 47.7 million in 2013. I mean, holy shit. That right there tells you things were not going so well for Barry. And they have all the charts here. Do with it as you will. It's all right here. It's all in the Daily Wire. You can look it up yourself. I mean, like I said, I love debate. I love debating with people, and that's what it's all about. I'm Charlie Cook, and y'all have a good day, motherfucker.